Hey guys, CryptoDad. Welcome to the 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time live Q&A in LA. Thank you for joining me. Got a lot to talk about, so let's get started. Hey guys, how's it going? It's good to see you guys. I saw there's some people chatting already. I've been playing around with my computer, so I wasn't sure if that webcam is lined up right. Let's check it out here. It looks okay, right? All right, so big news this week. We had a major volatile, a correction, whatever. I think a correction is 20% by definition. The crypto market kind of dropped. Although some coins actually, I saw that they were 20% down. But you know, the crypto market is a brand new item, and I know markets have been around a while. But the behavior of the crypto market is something unique, I believe. So by trying to categorize it using traditional market rules might be a mistake. But then again, you know, I'm not an expert. But really, who is an expert on the crypto market? It really just kind of took off last year and started falling under, you know, a lot of people giving it analysis and whatnot. So there were a few explanations. Let me say hello, Food World. Good to see you. Maya, thank you. Shamid, Shahid, back again, thank you. Bagon, Crypto, I remember that icon, the Cardano icon, I like. Circuit Masters, Melissa Ann Stokes, Arwa, Carl. It's good to see everybody here. I still feel like this thing looks... So I didn't do any videos this week. I did some work on my wife's computer. I replaced the liquid cooler because it seemed like it was kind of wearing out. And I would really like to start doing videos where I do my builds and whatnot. And I'll probably do a sub channel for that. What I really am looking for is a decent digital camera, you know, not just my phone, but you know, I've got one in mind that I can use, that has a remote control, that I can use sort of when I'm in the field, so to speak, or at my build table. This webcam that I have is a very nice webcam. I feel it's important to do high quality video, but it's just a webcam, so it doesn't really follow me around much. So that'll be in the future. So let's see, how are we doing here? Okay, so okay, I'm gonna hide that. Although what I think though is it's kind of comforting. I don't know how you guys feel, but I was starting to feel a little bit, I don't know what the word is, you know, kind of stale over the last few months. I don't know if that's the word for it, but it was kind of like, you know, is this where Bitcoin's gonna end up? Just like at this level, you know, just kind of no volatility, kind of sticking to this price. I was, you know, I've been, of course, waiting for a breakout and thinking, geez, is Bitcoin and the crypto market finally settled into their true value? I had no idea. You know, I was just wondering. And then all of a sudden we had this huge move downward. It was almost like a relief to me. I'm like, good. The Bitcoin that I know and love is back. You know, the volatile Bitcoin. I saw a headline that said Bitcoin plunges. And I remember I used to read those all the time last year in 2017 as Bitcoin was on its run up to its its all-time high of 20,000. it would go up a few thousand, and then it would pull back a few thousand, and all the headlines would read Bitcoin plunges, you know. And I would always laugh and go, yeah, but it just went up like 5,000. So anyway, I saw the Bitcoin plunge. Maybe that's a good sign, right? Okay, so why? Like we said, there are people that analyze it. Now, a lot of people felt like that it was the Bitcoin Cash controversy that, first of all, I was familiar with the Bitcoin Cash fork, and I got that. Okay, I understood that when I had Bitcoin, I was eligible for some Bitcoin Cash after the fork, right? I was able to claim my Bitcoin Cash, and it was like I had an X free money, right? Now it split, but it wasn't, the market for Bitcoin Cash wasn't as high as Bitcoin at the time, and it still isn't. But Bitcoin Cash was worth something, and I had Bitcoin Cash, and I didn't lose any of my Bitcoin. I understood that, and I understood what, you know, I've done hard forks before, where a new coin is created out of an old coin, and you keep your old coin and get the new coin. But this thing with the Bitcoin Cash, I didn't understand at all. I was kind of like, does this mean that it's updated, or that there's like a rogue fork now that some people might trade for? It just never really, I didn't quite understand what was going on. Because I know Monero has hard forks and nothing really changes. You know, it doesn't spawn new sub-Monero coins. It's the same coin. You have the same amount of coins before and after their so-called hard forks. You just have to update your wallet, and the blockchain gets updated, and your miner needs to be updated, and all this other stuff. So I was still a little confused about this Bitcoin Cash. And then there was this idea that there were two competing forks. So a lot of people think that that controversy and that confusion is what caused the Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin proper, to crash or move down. That was the impetus. And then, of course, when Bitcoin moved down, it sort of drug everything else down with it. And of course, while this is going on, Bitcoin Cash is losing value as well. So that's the first explanation for the drop in crypto on Wednesday, was the Bitcoin Cash controversy. Now, of course, there are some other people who were just talking about market forces. And as I said earlier, there's a lot of day traders, people that have been playing stock market, currency markets, whatever, and they use their analysis tools on the Bitcoin market price. And I'm assuming, the market analysis has been around for a while, so I can't totally discount it, but I also tend to feel that Bitcoin is a new thing, right? And we can't really apply the old rules to a new technology. Maybe we can, that's just my opinion. I get the feeling that the cryptocurrency market doesn't really obey all of the rules. But I could be wrong. But so that's one theory as to what happened. Was it had to do with the market forces. Bitcoin was, not volatile for too long, and it didn't move up, and so it was just inevitable that, the market indicators were that it was going to move down, and blah blah blah, and that's why it went down. Okay. And then this article goes on to say that it could go down more. C'est la vie. This particular article is just giving its opinion now as to whether or not Bitcoin will remain stable or be more volatile. I guess they're saying it could be stable. Now, this last thing here, this whole institutional investors don't care if Bitcoin ends 2018 at 3,000 or 10,000, is sort of, in a way, it's hope, because the big players are getting into Bitcoin. They're getting their infrastructure. They're getting all of their license and doing their due diligence and all whatever they're doing. and they're going to be big Bitcoin players in a big way. And they really don't care about the fluctuations of the price. They're in it for the long run. And so a lot of this volatility is due to retail investors. And the institutional investors, are just hoping to shake out all of the little guys. So that's another theory as to what happened. My take on this institutional thing is, you got Bank of America that patented some technology for blockchain custodial services. You've got Fidelity that's doing custodial services. And basically what they're trying to do is create a safe way for people to buy and hold cryptocurrency through their services. And they're going to put it in these, these cold wallets, right? They're going to store the Bitcoin in like air-gapped servers or whatever. They're just trying to find, and they're going to say, oh, you can buy Bitcoin from us, and don't worry, no one's going to hack it because we've got it in these super safe air-gapped hard wallets, right? But really, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to, gain the foothold, right? They're like, okay, Bitcoin, that's great. Why don't you just let us hold all your Bitcoin? And then maybe they'll try to leverage their holdings and, maybe sell Bitcoin to 4 or 5 people, when they only, they'll probably figure out what they do with cash. Whereas, they hold $1,000, they can lend out 10 times that amount on the books, right? Or on the computer. So maybe they're thinking to get into that situation with Bitcoin. I feel that Bitcoin, the real strength in cryptocurrencies is the decentralized exchange of value between the normal people. Anyway, sorry I'm rambling. Next bit of news. Let's see if anything. There was a big Bitcoin scam. Now, really, it had nothing to do with Bitcoin or the blockchain being, it was a Twitter scam. A Twitter scam can be anything. A Twitter scam can be, Nairobi princes, real estate, pyramid schemes, whatever they are. They just the scam du jour just happens to be Bitcoin right now because people don't really understand it and they think they're going to get rich. So scammers are using Bitcoin as their subject matter. And it really has nothing to do with Bitcoin proper. But so they make a big deal whenever there's these scams. Apparently there was some third-party app that managed to gain control of some large Twitter accounts, Google, G Suite, and Target, and they made these posts that were trying to attract people to a so-called Bitcoin pyramid scheme, but they didn't get very many tweets out. They just sort of broke through the barrier momentarily. So it's not really that big of a deal, but it's a great headline when they put the word Bitcoin in there right next to the word scam, right? But it's not really a Bitcoin scam. It was a Twitter scam trying to entice people by using the word Bitcoin to attract, the suckers, right? But we're not suckers, are we? And that just goes to show you, please don't, send any cryptocurrency to anybody on Twitter that's claiming that they're going to reimburse you. It's just, I don't know. I mean, if it's too good to be true, it probably isn't. This is an interesting story. The SEC has leveled civil penalties against 2 ICOs for unregistered securities. Now, it looks worse than it is. Now, these are firsts. The Securities and Exchange Commission imposed civil penalties on 2 initial coin offerings. Okay, so you can come away with a couple of things on this. Number one is they're taking ICOs seriously, and they're trying to they're beginning to classify them as securities, and which is not a bad thing. And the other thing is that they didn't throw them in jail or make them disband their company. they just imposed fines on them. So, you know, it's kind of a slap on the wrist. And we're only talking about ICOs here. You know, ICOs were the hot thing last year, but they're only a small sliver of the cryptocurrency market in general. You know, ICOs are only used on the Ethereum blockchain. And there are lots of other cryptocurrencies out there besides Ethereum that are not necessarily virtual machines. And then there are also competing cryptocurrencies out there that are also virtual machines like Ethereum, like EOS and Tron and Cardano and, you know, several others that will have their own ecosystem, and they'll have dApps and all of that other stuff. But they may not be raising money the exact same way as the Ethereum ICOs might be, you know, to generate new tokens. But maybe these other cryptocurrencies will learn these lessons moving forward and maybe figure a different way to market themselves or generate new tokens. So, an interesting development, so to speak. And let's see here. Got some more, just a few more items. Okay, Brian Kelly, who's, I guess he's on CNBC. CNBC Fast Money, BKCM founder. He believes it's a short-term drop, mostly attributed to the Bitcoin Cash controversy affecting the rest of the market. All right. So we're getting a lot of that. We're getting a lot of this Bitcoin Cash thing is what is spooked investors. All right. You got to remember that most of the movement of the market is not the hodlers, you know, the believers. There's a lot of people that are in it for the money, and there's a lot of emotion in play here. So one negative story or one negative item about in the cryptocurrency sphere can cause these types of investors to run for the hills, so to speak. All right, and let's see, what else do I have for you guys tonight? Let's see, I got this little article about Brave. Brave is supposed to come with a reading mode soon that will allow pages to load much faster. A lot of browsers have this type of feature. It's kind of what they call reading mode, but the way they do it is they'll load the page and then they'll strip out the ads and the, you know, the pictures and everything and just give you the text. Brave is going to try to do it a different way and kind of on the server side detect, you know, too much graphics and ads and whatnot. And so it will allow someone like me who likes to read the news much faster load times, right? But they're not going to do this until sometime in 2019. Could be mid, could be late, we don't know. But it's a new feature for Brave. Brave is kind of moving right along. It's got a lot of users, but it's only still a tiny sliver of the market. But it is a whole new answer to the way people view content on the internet. So, and I'm all for it, as you guys know. And then let's see, the last thing I'll talk about is Tron. Our old friend Tron. I've showed you a little bit of Tron. And, you know, Tron really took a hit on Wednesday when Bitcoin fell. And it's been waiting to be added to Coinbase. Coinbase listed several cryptocurrencies that they're considering or working on, Tron being one of them, and XRP being another, also Cardano, and none of them have been added yet. So, you know, Tron needs some good news. All right, so let's see if I can catch up with all the questions here. Yes, Bitcoin went down. Yeah. I'm not too sure about stable coins. I don't really think of them as an investment because the stable coin is supposedly tied to, in many cases, the dollar. And you know, the dollar is not a good investment. You know, if I take, if I want to invest, if I have $1,000 and I want to invest it, I'm not going to take that $1,000 and stick it in my pillow and say, "Hey, I invested $1,000 in U.S. dollar," because it's only going to go down in value. You know, the overall trend with U.S. dollars is inflation. And yeah, inflation goes up and down, but it's always a rate, right? It's always a rate of inflation. And even if the rate of inflation is low, there's still inflation, right? Uh, you're not gonna double your money by buying U.S. dollars and holding them, right? So the same goes for stable coins, right? They're a tool that traders use on cryptocurrency exchanges to sort of park their money in between big trades, right? So they buy a bunch of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin goes up, right? And then they buy Tether or Binance Coin or US, whatever that new one is, and they park their money there in the hopes that maybe Bitcoin will go down and dip, and then they'll buy it again, right? But the stable coin is where the traders park their money, right? It's not really an investment. I don't see how it could be an investment. I might be wrong about that, but you know, maybe by some crazy thing the value of these stable coins will go up, but I don't consider them investments. I consider them tools. Grand Illusion from Idaho, thank you. Melissa Ann Stokes, you're driving home in Los Angeles traffic, but you will be listening. That's really nice to know. I'm in LA. I was getting bored with Bitcoin, so I started using Robinhood and tracking cannabis stocks. LOL. Robinhood. Somebody doesn't like Robinhood. Circuit Master says there's so many cryptos he can't keep up. Okay, yeah, I think some people were thinking a lot of the people they were moving Bitcoin into Bitcoin Cash in anticipation of the fork, because you know, in a normal fork maybe you can almost double your money because you're going to double your amount of coins. But who knows? You know, maybe they wanted to buy Bitcoin Cash, wait for the fork, and then take their original Bitcoin Cash back to Bitcoin. But unfortunately for them, the price of Bitcoin tanked. So now they're sort of left holding the bag. But maybe this process was what was putting the selling pressure on Bitcoin. People were moving money from Bitcoin into Bitcoin Cash. Who knows? Could be. Yeah, the idea of Bitcoin in particular is that there is a built-in algorithm that says that there will only be 21, I believe it's 21 million Bitcoins minted ever. And so it's supposed to be an ecosystem that is inflation-proof. And it can't be manipulated like the dollar is, you know, with the Federal Reserve and the World Bank and all these other institutions that can manipulate the price of the U.S. dollar, or gold for that matter, by selling contracts. So, but that's not to say that they may not figure out a way to manipulate the price of Bitcoin. And it is possible that after they mint the 21 million, they may decide that that's not enough. Or they may just start measuring transactions in Satoshis. I mean, Bitcoin is dividable, right? Even if one Bitcoin is just too much to wrap your head around, let's just imagine that it's $250,000 for one Bitcoin. Well, we can wrap our head around a Satoshi, right? A Satoshi might be, you know, something we could buy a hot dog with, right? Five Satoshis. And then you mentioned open source here. how unique is any coin? What's that? That's what scares me. Yeah, I mean there are other coins and competing coins, and the hope is that they'll all live together, but they may not. One may be more used than the other. It depends. We'll see what happens. There may be kind of a reckoning where the good coins win and the bad coins become worthless. We're not sure yet. All right, it's brand new. Yeah, Digibyte is one of those coins that has been around quite a while. Yeah, but Bitcoin is Bitcoin is considered the digital gold, the store of value. Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta take this. Apple Messenger, this is Rex. Hey, Renee. Okay. Okay. Did you say? Okay. How many boxes did you say? 10? Oh, several. That sounds good. No problem. We'll take care of it. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. I work as a dispatcher, and sometimes they call me late. I mean, usually we stop at 5, but every now and then. That's my lot in life. I have to answer that phone. Okay. So a couple of people are talking about XRP, which I believe weathered the storm okay. Let's see where we are right now. I noticed there were a few, like XRP was around 50, I think, before Wednesday. And I remember Stellar was, I guess, around 26, maybe 27. But I did notice that Stellar went right back up the day after, and so did XRP. They were a lot lower. I mean, we can look at the chart here. That's a 7-day chart. You can see it was like cruising around up here. It really shot down, but then it shot back up, down, and right back up again. But it's still not up where it was. And Stellar was kind of the same. It went down, went back up. So, my thinking is that they're pretty resilient. They want to go up. That's kind of the way I see it. They want to go up, but, market sentiment has to be behind, the good news as well, and the fundamentals. But even in the U.S. stock market, fundamentals don't really matter that much anymore, because companies are allowed to buy back their own stock to, affect their price. So even the U.S. stock market doesn't really go on fundamentals; it just kind of goes on emotion and cheap debt. Right? Companies are borrowing money and buying back their own stock. So we'll see. Now, there was another story that I wanted to get. This guy. You're always seeing these stories about these guys that talk about, how crappy Bitcoin is. And I guess this is some kind of Wall Street guru, Mr. Gary Shilling. Shill is not, well, I'm not gonna poke fun at the guy's name. All right. I'm just not gonna do that. All right, so, but he's a big investor, and he says he's shorting Bitcoin because it sucks so bad. And, first thing he says, what was it? Well, he was talking about things we talked about tonight. He's mad because nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is, and to him, that's like a red flag, right, for an investment. Okay. We all maybe know better than that. He's skeptical of the fixed supply of cryptocurrency. There is supposedly a limit, but where is it written in stone that it can't increase? Well, it's not written in stone. It's written in code. Code that has been that is open source and maintained in multiple locations. It's open source code. That's where it's written. So it's pretty unlikely that they're gonna change the code. That's a hard fork, is what that is. So, and that's Bitcoin Cash forked off, but still, Bitcoin is more valuable than Bitcoin Cash. So, if we're talking strictly about Bitcoin, yes, it is written in stone that it's not going to increase. I don't know. And then he talks about all the electricity that's churned out by miners. That's just extraordinary. And then he admits that he does not understand Bitcoin and dismissed it as a black box. I'm just very suspicious of things that are not transparent. Well, open source code is transparent. If you have a mind to read it, it's there. It's not. So he says so many crazy things. If I can't understand it, I don't want to invest in it. Right? That's the. So, okay, it's one of these. He says all that. He says the same thing everybody's been saying. It's not a medium of exchange. It's not universally accepted. It's not a store of value. But as I've shown you on many times when I show you these articles, these Bitcoin or these cryptocurrency related sites have comments enabled. Most of the mainstream sites are turning off comments because they don't like people contradicting their narratives, right? But anyway, and I don't know, maybe this story was in one of the bigger news places. It may have just been sort of reprinted here. But if you look down at the comments, they're really funny. What was it? If you don't understand it and you're not investing, he said, I don't invest in something I don't understand. But he's shorting it, right? If you're shorting something, then that is investing in it, right? You're investing in the fact that you think that it will go down, even though he doesn't understand it. So he's shorting something that he doesn't understand, which, if any of you understand the market, shorting is even more dangerous than buying. If you buy a stock or a coin and it goes down in value, you haven't really lost anything until you sell it. And the only amount you stand to lose is the amount that you paid, if you bought $1,000 worth. But if you spend that same $1,000 and short a coin and the coin goes up, then you're on the hook for almost an unlimited amount of money. If you understand how shorting works. I'm not a huge, but you can lose a lot more money than you invest when you short a coin or a stock and it goes up. That's called a short squeeze, right? Let's see what some other things. Accusing him of being FUD. Of course, that's always, the Bitcoin people are quick to. Now, the one that I liked here, where he talked about Bitcoin is not universally accepted. Well, this guy said, well, there's 100 sovereign fiat currencies in the world, and I can only pay rent with one of them. Hence, all other fiats are not money. Get it? Right? So that's not a very good argument to say that it's not universally accepted, because even the dollar is not really universally accepted. The dollar is pretty universally accepted. But think about, the Italian lira, or, the British pound, or the Russian ruble. I definitely can't pay my rent in rubles. So does that mean that it's, that it's not a currency? And medium of exchange, it is a medium of exchange. You can buy things with Bitcoin. There are lots of places that will accept Bitcoin online, and people too. And if this guy doesn't think people accept Bitcoins, he can give them to me, right? So anyway, whenever you read these articles about these Bitcoin, these traditional investors, and I don't want to put them down. I mean, I'm sure they've made money for their clients, and I'm sure he's living comfortably, and I'm sure he's a smart guy. But you know, people, they just don't understand Bitcoin, and they've staked their reputations and their fortunes in the current system, the way that it is, the banking system, the centralized banking system. So, of course, they're not going to be cheerleaders for the decentralized digital currency that's not backed by any government or precious metal. Hey, Maximus. Oh, a lot of people here tonight. Any good questions tonight? You okay, buddy? Why does Coinbase make it so difficult to transfer your assets into a hardware wallet, many times keeping it for 30 to 40 days? I'll address this one. Now, I'm not sure if you're talking about their vault or if you're just talking about attempting to buy something on Coinbase. So let's just launch Coinbase here. All right, and let's see where we're at here. All right. All right, let's get Coinbase. So when you buy, somebody, I got $10 because somebody followed my affiliate link and bought some crypto on Coinbase. So thank you for doing that. I think they show me where that is exactly, but I don't. So I always appreciate when people click my affiliate links. I'm very grateful for that. But let's say we want to buy, okay, so everything's about Bitcoin Cash right now. I don't think you can buy it. Oops, I don't want to do that. I don't think you want to buy Bitcoin Cash right now, or they've disabled it. That was yesterday. But let's say we want to buy some Bitcoin today, right now. And I go to Coinbase. You'll see right here, it's got my bank account, right? Now, if I use my bank account to buy Coinbase, to buy Bitcoin, and I say I buy $100 worth. If I click buy Bitcoin with my bank account, it's going to take 3 or 4 days to clear. And in some cases, longer than that. I don't know about 30 to 45 days. Now, I'm not sure if you just opened your account, it might, and your bank is not one of their top tier banks, they may just be delaying your purchase, right? So it'll say, okay, you just bought Bitcoin, but it doesn't show up in your wallet. Or after you buy, it's going to say, your transaction is pending, or whatever it's going to say. So to avoid that, you want to use a debit card, right? In the early days, I don't know if you still, and I believe you can just open a Coinbase account and use a debit card to buy your Bitcoin or your Litecoin or whatever you want to buy. But if you want to get your money out, you'll need to link a bank account. But for purchases, you want to stick with that debit card because it will give you instant transactions. All right? And so, as soon as you have... Alex.
This is so insane.
Honey, can you go sit with your mom, please?
No.
Sorry, guys. If you buy Bitcoin and it's in your account, it only takes a minute to get it over to your hardware wallet, right? So I have my Ledger Nano S. Let's take this $10 of Bitcoin and put it in the Ledger. And let's see how long it takes, right? Now, I don't know. Maybe David was talking about their vault thing, which I wouldn't recommend because they still control the private keys, right? Even when you put it in their vault. If you want to move it onto your own hardware, why don't we do that, right? So the first thing we'll do is we'll move that $10 in Bitcoin into our Coinbase Pro account. Now we could do this directly out of Coinbase. I'm not going to do it directly out of Coinbase because I'll incur some I'll incur some network fees. So I'm going to save that. So I'm going to log in, Coinbase Pro. Anybody with a Coinbase account can set up Coinbase Pro. Doesn't cost you anything else. All right, I'm going to make a deposit in Bitcoin from my Coinbase wallet, right? There's a little bit of Bitcoin in there, right? So I'm going to hit max, and I'm going to hit deposit. All right, see, that happened right away. See, we didn't have anything to worry about there. Now we just want to move it onto the Ledger. So how are we going to do that? Well, we'll launch Ledger Live. All right. It was funny. Ledger Live said I had like $8 million in it the other day because it was misreading the price of Digibyte. No, Digibyte's not showing up at all. I'm not going to run the update at the moment. There. Is that it? No. That's something else. Yeah, Digibyte is not showing up at all yet. But that's okay. All right, so we want to put, I'm going to do, let's see, here we go, Bitcoin. Yeah, okay. So we're going to move it into this account. So we need to hit receive. And I need to enter my PIN and enter the Bitcoin app. So I will do that. I can't do anything here. All right. Oh, that was easy. All right, so we can see here that I've got the Bitcoin app. So that's Bitcoin. Is that it? It's hard to see. All right, so Bitcoin, we'll go in there. All right, now that it has queried this device, it's going to generate this address for me, and I'm going to confirm that it's the same address showing here. It's a fail-safe. I'm going to copy that address. And let's see. First I'm going to confirm it here. Just confirm the address. All right, now I can copy and close. And let's go back over here to our Coinbase Pro. And let's withdraw. Let's see, it's Bitcoin. Oh, we need to refresh, right? I don't know, it's like okay, so there's a small amount of Bitcoin. Let's withdraw it, right? All the Bitcoin. That address that I just copied into my clipboard. Ooh, actually it won't, or will it? Oh, okay. It didn't used to do the threes. It didn't used to do the SegWit addresses. Apparently it supports it now. So let's withdraw. All right, and it needs our two-factor authentication, so let's do that. And this is the same two-factor authentication that you use for your Coinbase account, right? It's the same one. All right, and then let's go back over to Ledger Live and just kind of wait. Did it come in? Did that Digibyte ever show? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not telling me I have $8,000 anymore. So let's just kind of keep an eye on it. There it goes. So we got it, right? And there's the confirmation there. We just received about $10 worth of Bitcoin into our Bitcoin Ledger account or the wallet. And there you go. So that didn't take very long. If you want to move your Bitcoin from Coinbase onto your hardware wallet, the Ledger is your best bet. I don't know if you're talking about that vault thing of theirs, but that's not really cold. That is cold storage on their part, but they're doing it on your behalf. So if you really want to hold your crypto the real way, you want to control your own private keys, right? You don't want to store your crypto on an exchange, even if they're, going to be custodians for you. There's really, big boys hold their own crypto, and girls hold their own cryptocurrency. Let's see. Someone mentioned Stellar Port Exchange. Maximus is mentioning if they use derivatives that they can create more Bitcoin out of thin air, which is what they do with dollars and gold now. So that is a distinct possibility. And then Ligo wants to know why all the coins went bearish, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. The main argument now is the Bitcoin Cash controversy is sort of giving people spooked investors. And then the other theory is that it's market forces. We don't know. It could have something to do with the SEC filing these cases against these ICOs. But, anyone that knows crypto pretty well realizes that ICOs are not the whole cryptocurrency market. They're just a small part. And so that shouldn't really rattle your faith in Bitcoin. It might rattle your faith in Ethereum because Ethereum are the ones that are, Ethereum price goes up when people are into ICOs. So that's a possibility. Okay. All right. Scott Lee's here. That's good. XRP, hooray. Is there any way to exchange Monero for BTC? Well, yeah. There are several cryptocurrency exchanges that support Monero. All right, so Bittrex, I believe. So let's check out Bittrex. Oops. So this is like almost a no-brainer, but it may not be readily apparent to everybody, right? Let's see. All right. Whoops. I think... What is Monero? XMR. Okay, XMR. Sorry. XMR is Monero. All right, so you see you got Monero here. And it's supported on Bittrex. And I believe it's also supported on other exchanges. Now, the idea behind Monero is that it's a privacy-based coin. So doing this transaction on a centralized exchange sort of breaks the whole Monero paradigm, right? But if you've got Monero and you want to sell it or you want to exchange it for Bitcoin, then all you really have to do is deposit it on a cryptocurrency exchange. Pardon me. So I'll hit deposit, right? Oh, okay. So let's see. Generate new address. Oh, okay. So I got to hit this. Okay, there we go. All right. So it's going to give us a payment ID and a base address, right? And we'll use that in our Monero wallet that is the address we'll use to send our Monero to this exchange. Once we've done that, then we'll have Monero in our cryptocurrency exchange wallet. And then from there, it's just the hop, skip, and a jump to sell it for Bitcoin, right? And then you can move that Bitcoin into your Bitcoin wallet, or you could sell the Bitcoin. Or if you wanted to, you could just sell the Monero for Tether or US dollars or whatever, and cash out on Bittrex. Bittrex has, if you sign up for a bank account access, you can link your bank account to Bittrex. And from there, you can make deposits to Bittrex in US dollars, and you can withdraw your cryptocurrency from Bittrex as well. You just need to sell for dollars, right? Let's see, there's US dollars. They have US, see there, USD, right? So you could sell, and there, that's XRP. I don't see XMR, but there is Bitcoin, right? So you sell your Monero for Bitcoin, and then you can sell your Bitcoin for US dollars, and then you can withdraw. So it's not that difficult. Now, if you're privacy minded, then you would want to use a decentralized exchange like Shapeshift. Or there are Shapeshift has been under some transformation. They're requiring an email address, so they're not as anonymous as they used to be. But Shapeshift is one way that you can exchange Monero a little with a little less personal information being involved. There's another one too. I can't think of what it is. But there are several other decentralized cryptocurrency exchanges that support Monero, right? I want to deposit Monero, right? So you want to know what you're doing, but you could transform your trade, your Monero for Bitcoin using a decentralized exchange like this. Okay, so Melissa is clarifying the original question, not as an investment, considered a tool. My question was, if I park my Bitcoins in Tether, does it lock in my price and preserve it, or does my Bitcoin still drop with the market? Well, the idea is that your Bitcoin, you're going to sell your Bitcoin for Tether. You won't even be holding Bitcoin at all anymore. Your money, your value, let's call it your value. Say you start with $10,000, you go in and you buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, and then it goes up, and you've got $15,000 worth of Bitcoin, and so you sell all that Bitcoin for Tether, right? And you park it in that Tether, and then it doesn't matter what happens to Bitcoin, right? It's not going to affect, you still have your Tether. But if Bitcoin dips, you could rebuy that, use that $15,000 worth of Tether to rebuy Bitcoin at the lower price on the hopes that it'll go back up again. Your only danger, I guess, is you sell your $15,000 worth of Bitcoin for Tether, and then you go to sleep and you wake up the next day, and that same amount of Bitcoin is now worth $20,000, and you missed the boat, right? And Bitcoin just keeps going up. But you could jump back on, and you never really lost anything. You may have lost potential profit, but you didn't really lose anything. You just sort of missed out on some potential. But that's the idea. You're not really, once you've cashed out to Tether, so to speak, and you're not holding any more Bitcoin, then Bitcoin can do whatever it wants to do, right? And you still got your 15,000. If Bitcoin goes down, then you're in luck, right? You could just you could buy back in and buy that dip and make more money. Now you have to remember, if you're doing that sort of thing, you're going to incur tax. Those are taxable events. So if you're going to be a day trader like that, you want to have a good accountant that knows how to deal with. Hang on a second. Honey, could you give him some honey or something? This kid just won't stop coughing. You're driving me nuts over there. A good dad just cannot stand to hear his son coughing like that. Just so once you've sold your Bitcoin for Tether, then that Bitcoin, you're not going to lose anything in the Bitcoin. Amit is mentioning this. I've seen this a few times. That a lot of people believe that the big institutions have discovered the value of Bitcoin and they're driving the price down so they can get in. It's just not out of the realm of possibility. Let's see. Should we even be selling our cryptocurrency in the future if the dollar is not doing well? It doesn't make sense in working so hard and building up my profit to trade it in for dollars. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. And yes, we've talked about this, or I've talked about it many times. We all think of cryptocurrency as kind of an investment in, okay, I buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin and next year it's worth 10,000 and then I cash out. He won't stop coughing. Okay, so I cash out of my 10,000, my $1,000 becomes 10,000 and then I cash out and then I have 10,000 in the bank, right? That's the dream, right? Or whatever it happens to be. Well, the alternative to that is that you never cash out, right? You don't cash out, you just hold it so that maybe in 5 years you'll be able to buy groceries with that cryptocurrency that has gained in value. That initial 10,000, I'm sorry, let's say if I put $1,000 into Litecoin and then it's worth $20,000 5 years from now, I won't even need to cash out, right? I'll just use the Litecoin to buy my groceries or my car or my speedboat or my parachuting lessons or whatever. That's the idea. We don't want to worry about cashing out because the dollar may collapse, right? The dollar may lose value. It's always going to be losing some value because of inflation. But let's just assume that there's some sort of event that causes the value of the dollar to go down. And we get hit with rampant inflation. Well, then those cryptocurrencies that you possess, hoping that the entire system doesn't collapse and we lose power and electricity. But if we have a minor inflation or semi-minor, then the cryptocurrency would be better to hang on to and spend when you need it rather than cash out. And then someone also mentioned the exchange-traded funds. Everyone was kind of keeping their fingers crossed on these exchange-traded funds decisions by the SEC, and everyone was screaming, hey, look how stable Bitcoin is for the last 2 months, and thinking that EFT approval was right around the corner, and now Bitcoin pulls another volatility thing, shows its true colors or whatever you want to say. Is this going to affect the SEC decisions? We don't know, but it doesn't look great, right? Every time they deny an exchange-traded fund, they say that it's because that Bitcoin is volatile and that it can be manipulated. And I've gone through this before. We know that the large banks and the trading and the brokerage firms manipulate the price of currencies. They've been caught. It's in black and white. There were big scandals where they were manipulating the price, the percentages on these Forex or whatever. Anyway, it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black, But besides that, the price, the dollars and the gold and everything else is being manipulated, why pick on Bitcoin? Because it's new, right? But that's what they'll say. They always say Bitcoin is volatile and it could be manipulated, so we're not going to approve the exchange-traded fund. So now that Bitcoin has just taken another huge dive this week, it's probably less likely that the EFTs will be approved. That's just my take on it. Let's hope that I'm wrong and that they will approve EFT, pardon me. Boy, there's a lot of people here today. Oh, okay, I'm down at the bottom. Yay. Yeah, I mean one of the big rules or first rules of investing is you haven't lost any money until you sell, right? So if I bought Apple stock, back in '95, and I watched it go way down, then I didn't really lose any money, right? And if I just waited for Apple stock to go up, then I'd be a rich man now. So the only time you lose money in stocks is when you sell after it has gone down. So, and but there are people that'll tell you, only a fool holds on to a stock when it, keeps going down. But it just depends on what your long-term strategy is. Just dollar cost average, hodl and safe hard wallet, and forget about the day, week, month, and year value. Yeah. That's kind of what I mean. I just buy. That's basically all I do is I buy. Now, if the price goes up and there's some profit to be taken, I'm not one to not take profit, but I hung on to the vast majority of my cryptocurrency. I sold some in January and got some money, but the most of it I held on to, and it has gone way down in value since that time, and it still hasn't recovered. But I just keep buying more. Whenever I see red on the cryptocurrency market, that's when I buy. I bought some on Thursday morning. I bought a little bit more, what I could afford to. All right, I bought a little more Stellar. Stellar was down, so I bought some Stellar. I just checked my ledger and it says I have 0.015 when I had 0.99. What is wrong? You mean after the transfer? You probably got hit with some transfer fees when you transferred. And that's one of the reasons that I switched over to Coinbase Pro. Usually it'll tell you when you're about to send out on Coinbase, it usually breaks it down for you and tells you what percentage of that transfer is going to be a fee, right? They're going to charge you, I don't know if I have any from way back in the day. I mostly just move out. Sent Bitcoin. Yeah, so it looks like back in November I sent some Bitcoin. $47. Let's look at it here and see. All right, 2 outputs created. So whenever you send Bitcoin directly out of Coinbase, it goes out onto the Bitcoin blockchain. Okay, so here we are. I sent 0.005 and I lost 0.0003285 was a fee. So it's never going to give you exactly what you sent unless you use Coinbase Pro. Coinbase Pro is going to absorb those transfer fees. That's why I used Coinbase Pro. So I don't know what you did when you sent it to your ledger, but you may have just sent directly out of Coinbase and got a fee. But 0.0, I just checked my ledger and it says I have 0.1 when I had 0.9. Oh, well, that's a huge hit. That I don't know. I mean, I get I don't quite understand what happened there. I mean, if you put it in there, it shouldn't just change, right? If you're looking at a wallet, it shouldn't just like all of a sudden change, unless someone has your private key, which has happened to me. Ledger fees are third. Well, when you send from the ledger, you're going to incur network fees. So if you send Bitcoin or Litecoin or anything from the ledger, you're subject to the mining fees, the transaction fees of that blockchain network, whatever it is. So yeah, but the ledger will tell you too. They'll say, oh, okay, and you have to approve on your ledger not only the transaction but the fee itself. That's just built into the blockchain. That's not Ledger charging you anything. Ledger is just a tool. Now Ledger will allow you to adjust. You can adjust your your Bitcoin transaction fee, right? And the idea is if you pay a low mining fee or transaction fee on the Bitcoin network, your transaction has less chance of being mined, right? So, and if you pay a little bit of a higher fee, you have more of a chance of the transaction being mined right away. And so the idea is that the transaction will go faster. Now, you can do this on other kinds of wallets too. You can do it on the Electrum wallet, also has that little slider. So, but that is a Bitcoin transaction fee. That's not a Ledger fee or Electrum wallet fee or anything like that. That's just, it allows you to adjust your you choose, Bitcoin, you could try to send a transaction with no miner fee at all, but it most likely won't go through, right? Or it'll bounce back at you. So the slider gives you the option of a little bit higher fee to give you a better chance of your transaction going through faster. Chrome. I would trust the Ledger Live, not the Chrome. Are you talking about Bitcoin, John, or are you talking about some other crypto? I'm assuming it's Bitcoin. Let's go back over here. Bitcoin Ledger 1. So if you're looking at your balance in Ledger Live and and you've got your Bitcoin app open, then it should be showing you your Bitcoin balance, right? Now, if you decide you wanted to use the Chrome app instead, they should just be showing you the same balance, right? Alright. I gotta redo this. Gotta re-enter my PIN here. Let's see what mine does, right? Alright, so it's telling me I should use Live, alright, but I'm not going to, right? I'm gonna go to Bitcoin. I'm going to go to SegWit because this is a newer Bitcoin address, and it should show me. It may or may not synchronize. We'll see. This is another reason that I like Ledger Live. It's a little faster than the old one. Okay, so here we go. So it's 0.0067. And Live says I have 0.0067. So they look identical to me. Yeah, the both balances are identical. You may be looking at the wrong blockchain when you went into the Chrome app, right? You can go to Settings and Blockchains. Maybe you were looking at like the legacy Bitcoin blockchain. So if I look at legacy, it's going to show me a different balance, because I do have, over here you can see I have a little bit of legacy Bitcoin. Whatever. And it might show me, there are several private keys on here. So I'm not sure how it's going to know which are which. Oh, I do. I'm sorry. Yeah, the old, this one, you can have multiple accounts in this too. So let's see what happens. So that may be what's happening. You may be looking at a SegWit as opposed to a non-SegWit Bitcoin address. And the non-SegWit maybe had a little something in there. So there, you can see I've got 3 accounts, and there's that $2 in Bitcoin that's over here in this legacy account. And then these other 2 are just empty. So maybe that's what you're seeing. Maybe you're seeing a legacy balance instead of your SegWit balance. I know it makes you feel like your heart drops when you see like a zero, like a almost zero balance. How can I save my Smartland tokens in Stellar Web Wallet through Ledger Nano S? Now that's a great question. So let's check that one out. All right, so we know that we can install, let me get out of this. We know that we can install the Stellar app on using Ledger Live. Didn't like that. Let's try again. Yeah. Well, it may not let me do this. Never works when I've got company over. But it's not important because I already have Stellar on here, right? So we know that we can install the Stellar app on our Ledger Nano S, but we can't use the account. There is no Stellar account. All right, so we have to use a third-party wallet to view our balance. And so let's go over here to our Stellar, and we'll check our wallet. And we can check our balance in the Stellar wallet using a Ledger Nano S, right? So what I've done, let's enter the Stellar app, all right? Oops. Let's hit both buttons, and see that turns blue. And there, I can see the contents of my Stellar wallet, right? So here we go. I've got a Stellar wallet, and I have a Stellar private key on here, right? Now, your question was Smartlands. So let's go over to a Stellar exchange, right? A Stellar-based exchange. Let's try Stellarport. All right. Now, I can go into the wallet, and I can go to balances, and we can see there's that Stellar balance. Same wallet, same private key, everything else on the ledger, right? But there are some other tokens here. You can see I've got some Glitz coin and I have some Mobi. Now, those balances weren't showing up in this Stellar wallet, but I can see them in Stellarport. Now, those coins are basically living on the same Stellar address, this address up here, right? That is the same address as this, right? That Stellar public address is the same address that all of these sub coins live on. These are Stellar native Stellar tokens, right? And so let's go over to the exchange, and let's say, where are we? Smartlands. So where is Smartlands? Gosh, I don't know how. Oh, here. Smart. Is that going to work? Is there such a thing? Hey, there it is. Okay, so Smartlands, they have several like tethers, right? But I'm just going to use the XLM native, right? I'm going to use the native one. Right? And how much am I going to buy, right? Okay, so it costs 21 Stellar, All right, so let's say, okay, whoops. All right, I'm willing to spend 50, let's see. Oh, it's 50. Oh, okay. I see. 5,000, we'll see. Let's do 100, right? All right, so I'm willing to offer 100 Stellar for these Smartland tokens, right? And the tokens are worth 21 Stellar each. And so I will, if I make this trade, I'll get 4 Smartland tokens, right? So let's buy it. And ask me, are you sure? And I'll say yes. And I'm going to sign it with my ledger, right? Because the private key of the Stellar is on this ledger, right? So I'm going to sign it, right? And it wants me to confirm. Let's see, get that there, right? I'm going to confirm that, the transaction and the slight fee, right? And it's going to do this thing. And let's hope it's successful. It usually happens quicker than that. All right, so I just bought 21 Smartland tokens. Now your question is, how do I store these on the Ledger Nano S? They're already stored on the Ledger Nano S, right? If we go to balance, there they are right there. Now you can really only view them when you're using the Stellar Port interface. And you could also view them in the other, there are other Stellar-based exchanges like StellarX. So let's try that one. Same interface, same wallet, same Ledger Nano S, right? So if I go to wallet, it shows me the same address, right? It's the same actually, I guess I only, oh, maybe this thing, oh, here it is. Oh, doesn't look like the whole trade has gone through yet. Yeah, it's you know, the market is moving, right? I haven't quite made the entire purchase yet. So, but it will eventually. But now, let's see, I only have 0.06. And as you can see from this one here, they've reserved off 100 of these, right? It says I have a total balance of 51, but I only have 5,000 available because I have committed that 100 to the Smartland purchase, right? So we'll wait. Hopefully it will eventually, the order will be filled and I will have the Smartland tokens and they will live on this Ledger Nano S in that same Stellar address. Hey, K-Town Daddy, thanks for joining us. Alan Ellis is always my cheerleader. Thank you, Alan. I don't pay Alan. But thank you. Do I need to send to public Stellar account 2 Smartland tokens from exchange? Do I need to send to public Stellar account 2 Smartlands tokens from exchange? Well, because Smartlands is a Stellar native, it doesn't need to go anywhere. It can just stay right here on this ledger in this address. I don't know what's taking it so long. Come on, Smartlands tokens, I want more. Fill my order. Right, see, I still got this negative 101. It'll eventually get filled. See, and then here they'll tell you 101 are not currently spendable, either because they're on offer or because they're on reserve. Well, in this case, they're on offer, right? I did a trade, and I believe I may have been able to do a faster trade by using market, but instead I used a limit order. It may have been quicker if I'd have just gone market instead of limit, but limit is the default. So c'est la vie. I don't mind waiting. Now it's possible that the order may not get filled, and eventually we'll get it rejected at some point. but most likely not. And then another thing that's kind of cool about this interface, the Stellar X interface, it shows me all my tokens, and it also shows me their US dollar value, which is kind of cool. And then down here at the bottom, it gives me like a total value of the entire portfolio. You know, all of them added up together. So that's cool. So, and then, okay, so you've got, we bought the Smart Lens tokens on the Stellar Port Exchange. When the order gets completely filled, they'll be on here. I'll have 21 of them on here, and I can safely store them. It's a hardware wallet, right? No one's going to steal my Smart Lens tokens. And let's say next year I decide to sell them, I could go right back to this same Stellar exchange and sell them. Now, if Smart Lens gets listed on other exchanges, let's try that. Let's go over to price charts here. SLT. Huh. Markets. Who else lists this thing? Okay. Okay, so they're all Stellar based, right? So there's really no need to put them anywhere. They're there. They're already there. I bought them. Let's see if they ever showed up. Still at 1.12. What's taking them so long? Boy, I'm just so impatient. I hate waiting for these things. And I haven't even figured out how you cancel the... Or let's see. Can I do it? Right. Okay, let's cancel. Right? All right. And I'm going to sign it with the ledger. I'm tired of waiting. Darn it. Let's sign it with the ledger. All right. It wants me to confirm. All right. All right. There. Cancel. Just taking too darn long. Right? So let's just do a market buy. Right? I probably lost a little bit here and there. All right, so I'm gonna, let's do 90. I like to keep that 5,000. Let's just do 95. Right? Let's, we're gonna offer 95 for whatever smart land they're gonna give us for 95. Yeah. All right, and let's sign in again. We got to sign the transaction. That's the beauty of the hardware wallet, right? It asks me to confirm using the buttons, right? There has to be a confirmation. Boom! Did it all go through? Oh, we're still getting it piecemeal. Oh my God. All right. So now I only have 4. Please. Well, I don't know. Did I just get screwed? Did I only get 4 when I could have gotten 21? I don't know. Are there any? Well, let's look at over. No? Maybe I did. Yeah. Well, maybe that's why the trade wasn't going through. It was just too high. Yeah. I may have screwed something up here, but that's okay. I'm not overly concerned about it. Well, it says I only have 4. I don't know if there's more coming in down the road or if I just messed something up. Maybe the price was just like going up and down or something. Well, it says I only have 4. I thought I was going to get like, what was it, 12, wasn't it? Supposed to get 12? I sent US Tether to address BTC in Bittrex. Earn solution. Okay, cool. Sas Kumar got it. Maybe you'll stick to the market. Maybe you should stick to the limit order. I was supposed to get 21. I only got 5. What happened? I don't know. Oh, the limit price total to receive. Oh, okay. So 100. Oh, okay. So that's right. I should have only gotten 4. I was scared there for a minute. I was really scared. That's okay. All right. So we did it, right? We got, let's go back to our wallet. Check it out. Right. We got our 4. And it's worth 21 stellar, right? So 4 times 21 is like 90 something. So we're good. So my question is, why were you trying to send it from your Ledger Live to your Ledger, to your Chrome? Are there 2 different ledgers, or were you trying to send it between accounts because Live and Chrome look at the exact same balances, right? We talked about that. It's locked now. So I don't understand exactly what you were trying to do. Somehow I lost almost a whole Bitcoin. I tried to send from Ledger Live to my Chrome ledger, but it says insufficient funds, even though it says 0.9924. Norton Security made my computer faster yesterday. Yeah. Thank you, Sasker. I was really worried there. I was like, I thought I was supposed to get 21 of the Smartlands. Okay, yeah. So I got my 4. So we can see there. 4.45. And they're safe and sound on my ledger. That's good. Stellar and IBM is going to keep taking it to the next level. What a great future they have. Yes, I believe Stellar has a great future, which is why I routinely kind of throw money at it. You know, this Glitz coin is kind of cool. This Glitz coin it keeps going up. I can't find any news on it anywhere. But every time I go onto the Stellar-based exchange, it's like really right now it's number 4 in volatility. Or I'm sorry, in volume. But it's usually sometimes it's like number 2 or number 1 in volume, and I'm like, who's buying all this? You know, I think it's a Russian. Well, I believe it is a Russian company. So maybe there's a lot of news in Russian about it. But when you search Google for news on Glitzcoin, you come up with nothing, really, except marketing reports. So anyway, that's kind of cool. Maybe these sub-tokens are going up because of the market recovery. I don't know. But things look like they're hopping over here on the Stellar-based exchanges, right? Yeah, kind of interesting. It's diamonds, right? The reason I know anything about it was because they contacted me. Whoops. They contacted me through email and asked me to do a video on their ICO when they were running their ICO, but I couldn't participate because I was in the US. And I told the guy, hey, I'd love to do a video on how to buy Glitzcoin, but I can't. I'm barred from participating in the ICO. And then after the ICO, when it was available on the market on Stellar, I knew about it, so I thought, I'll buy a little bit. But interesting. Supposed to revolutionize the diamond industry, right? We'll see, right? There's a blockchain. You remember how they always say there's an app for that, right? It's like there's a blockchain for that. You know, whatever problem you have, whatever logistical process you have, you know, whatever it's, you know, if it's you know, the tomato, you know, picking tomatoes from picking to market to, you know, grocery store to consumer, there's a blockchain for that, right? You can just put a blindfold on, turn around 3 times in a grocery store and point to any product and say, there's a blockchain for that. So we'll see, and some of the ideas might be good ideas. Some of them might be harebrained schemes. Some of them might be outright scams. We'll see, right? Look at diapers.com. Diapers.com was doing quite well until Amazon drove them out of business. So, and then there was toys. There was a toys site, toys.com or something in the early days that it just like didn't do anything. The very early days of the internet retail weeded out a lot of harebrained companies. Maybe good ideas, but bad implementations too. So we got that to think about. So be careful, do your research, and just like, I'm not a trader, but I have talked quite a bit. Look at the coin, see what it's about, check their website, check the history of, their charts, how long they've been around. Do your due diligence before investing any of your hard-earned money in a cryptocurrency. Make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. And don't just go because somebody on Telegram said you saw some spam on Telegram or in a comment section of a YouTube video that you need to go out and buy such and such token. Do your own research and only invest money that you can afford to lose. Number one, don't, hawk your jewels and, get a second mortgage on your house to buy crypto. Just use your disposable income. That's my advice. Okay, Mr. Potts, if you are wondering where your Bitcoin went, then you should most likely look at your Ledger Live account and look at the transaction history, and it will tell you. It doesn't just disappear. Right? If you're looking at your Bitcoin balance right here, and you say, okay, yesterday it was 1 Bitcoin, today it's 0.0001 Bitcoin, and I lost almost a whole Bitcoin, then scroll down here and look at your transactions and see where it went. It doesn't just like disappear completely off the face of the earth. So you probably sent it somewhere, or someone took it because they had your private key or something of that nature. But it should at least show up in your transactions, right? And the same, and I don't understand what you're talking about going between Ledger Live and Chrome. They're the same thing. So looking at your private key using the Chrome browser app, or looking at your private key using the Ledger Live, it's the same thing. Same key, same balance, same account. So I don't understand why you were trying to send it from one to the other. Doesn't make any sense to me. Unless you have 2 ledgers. Okay, so it doesn't, so it just disappeared. So I guess we'll just have to count it as the Bermuda Triangle. I mean, I don't know what to say. Anyway, I guess that's it for tonight. There's not much more I can say about this subject. Look in your transactions, see if it's in there, figure out where it went. Yeah. It's probably somewhere. You probably left it behind the counter somewhere. It's around. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget, every Friday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the live Q&A from LA. Join me for lively discussion, a little bit of news, troubleshooting. Hopefully you can learn a thing or two, and I can learn with you. Look forward to seeing you again. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me, and hope to see you again soon.